political journey, he switched from a successful career in the corporate world and business to the political arena with the aim of an attempt to the country's top job, presidency. Hakainde Hichilema began his active political journey in 2006 when he was elected President of the United Party for National Development, UPND. At the time of this broadcast, President Hakainde Hichilema occupies the country's highest office. He is the Republican President. But who is HH? Hakainde Hichilema, a self-made successful businessman, philanthropist, and leader of the ruling political party in Zambia, the United Party for National Development, UPND. Hichilema was born on June 4, 1962, in the southern district of Munsanje. HH attended lower education level of his studies in his birthplace. He is a proud cattle header, and on a number of platforms he has proudly explained his cattle heading at a younger age, and up to now he does attend to his cattle. After attending school locally, he was admitted to the University of Zambia on a government bursary, where he attended and graduated in 1986 with a Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Business Administration. He later obtained further studies in the UK. Since then, he has pen-marked a successful track record in business both locally and internationally, and achieved his impressive record at a very young age. He is a prominent farmer, as he is one of the biggest cattle ranchers in Zambia among many business interests. His corporate business acumen can also be stemmed from having lent his leadership to top-serving prestigious jobs at Coopers and Lybrand, where he served as CEO, and in the same position he served at Grant Thornton. Hichilema is also a trained business negotiator, a qualified change management practitioner, and is a member of the Zambia Institute of Directors. President Hakainde Hichilema's active entry in Zambia's political journey began in 2006 when he was elected as president of the then opposition United Party for National Development, UPND. HH won the UPND presidency following the death of his leader, Anderson Mazoka, his close friend and founding president of the party. His initial days as the UPND president were not a smooth ride, as key members left and joined other political platforms, leaving the party in shaky grounds as Mr. Hichilema was pictured inexperienced. Despite the pitfalls in the initial days as the UPND president, Mr. Hichilema hit the ground running and first attempted his presidential ambition as leader of the United Democratic Alliance. The UDA was formed on 1st March 2006 by the United Party for National Development, UPND, the United National Independence Party, UNIP, and the Forum for Democracy and Development. Founding UPND leader Anderson Mazoka was the leader of the alliance and was later succeeded by Mr. Hichilema following his death. In the 2006 elections, Hichilema under the UDA finished third out of the 5 presidential candidates with a 25% of the vote. The alliance would later cease to work together, and in the 2008 presidential by-election following the death of incumbent Levi Mwanawasa, political parties under UDA participated separately. In the build-up to the elections in 2011, Mr. Hichilema's UPND and then Michael Sata's Patriotic Front signed a pact to work together, and months before the polls, the pact crumbled, and that was the year the PF emerged victorious, with the UPND coming out third with MMD settling for a second position. From 2011 up until 2021, it is this period that Mr. Hichilema would face his challenging time to ascend to power, as violence and detentions would stand in his way as he vies for the top job in the land. For instance, few years after being elected as Republican president in January 2013, late President Michael Sata's government began to probe on HH's personal bank accounts, all linking him to allegations of impropriety in the privatization of state enterprises in the 90s, a decampaigning mantra political opponents would use in later years. Few years into office, President Santa would be no more in October 2014, and Zambia had to endure another election at the presidential level. A number of political parties participated in this election, and the ruling Patriotic Front won the polls, but it was not an easy election for President Hakainde Hichilema. For example, His presidential campaign team was attacked in Shiwangandu by what is believed to be politically influenced. The team was led by former First Lady Maureen Mwanawasa and current Vice President Mutalena Lumango. The attack happened when the helicopter carrying the UPND team was landing in Muchinga province.
We want to lead a country, but we are not giving up. What did independence do? And the police are so useless. Yeah, they're fighting with them.
Our own land. We must be beaten. The police is watching. Where is the protection? Why should a political party, a violent political party, be allowed to govern this country? We refuse as Zambians. Yes. We are ready to fight it out, even by our Zambian colleagues.
And the police are the most...
They are listening. Here we are, being beaten for nothing.
The year is 2015. Political opponents mounted a strong propaganda against HH on numerous occasions that included spurts of violence, denying of permits to conduct rallies. The Patriotic Front retained the seat in 2015 elections, and HH lost another presidential election. A year later, a general election was to be held, and the then opposition UPND again mounted a serious campaign with another shot at the elections. But the UPND's campaign will also face serious challenges by political competitors, vicious attack on the UPND through online publications, and in some areas, denial of an audience to meet up the electorates. A return to Shiwangandu, this time President HH faced what seemed to be an organized operation to stop him from campaigning in that area. The chopper carrying him failed to land at first attempt, as PF-dressed cadres put up a rebel military style of resistance to land.
MP na officials bandi vampela mashina navaiche valia posa mabwe ndefo ya list after 11 August tukavomberapo.
HH then later to Tendere in Muchinga province. There two Patriotic Front dressed cadres threw stones and shockingly in the presence of the police. Bernard Dimpundu, the now permanent secretary in Northern Province, pleaded for police protection as cadres seemed armed.
Can we help us control the situation? We can't allow lawlessness. We can't. We can't. And in your presence, it's a very massive your profession. How are we going to trust you that you are going to safeguard us? Where is our peace? Where is our democracy? You are the officers here. These things are meant to be back on the top there. No guys, can't allow this.
Semu Zambia tonse tigwirizane. Tisebenzele pamozi. Tisebenzele pachani? Pamozi. Tichose mavuto. Tichose mavuto.
We know the plans that they have and what they are doing in order to steal this election. And I'm glad that here in Mafinga, they have been conquered and moved away so that we could have had the meeting we've had today.
In the Eastern Province campaigns, there was also another challenge for HH and his UPND team to advocate for votes, as this time around, police denied them the opportunity despite following the required timetable.
This
Listen, the thing is, we agreed that it's only telling them that there's no meeting.
Yes. So, tiende kasi. Kasi tieni mukati wose tieni mukati.
Can't keep on behaving like that. There's no violence.
Councillors from Kaika constituency.
There's no violence here. What's the problem? What would I do there without the people? What am I going to do?
We agreed with Honorable Ngoma that only the officials, you are going to pass your message through your officials. And here you can just say bye.
Because you want to cause war in this country. We've been working at it. I'm not trying to talk to you if you're standing here.
We agreed, like I said earlier, to say there should be no meeting here. And we agreed with the Honorable Tembo to say, which Tembo? Ngoma, sorry. Honorable Ngoma, that you only read the people and we said if the president wants to if the president wants to meet with the officials, we have no problem. But now there's an issue whereby no, these are defectors. What? It's not a meeting.
It's our right to receive members. You know, it's our constitutional right. Your problem comes in if there's violence. There's no nothing.
Because a meeting must have notification. This meeting is illegal. That's what you want. There's no notification, Your Excellency.
The same was recorded in some other parts of Zambia. Despite the challenges, the UPND had support from prominent politicians who formed various campaign structures for the party in opposition. President Hakainde Hichilema, in difficult circumstances, continued his campaigns amidst the challenges.
But why should it be that the president, if he's coming to Solwezi, the rest of us have to be deported from Solwezi? They have to be uprooted from Solwezi. Why? Why should it be like that? I asked Mongula, I said, Mongula, where does President Lungu live? He says in State House. I said, which town is State House? He says Lusaka. I asked him the next question, which town does Hakainde live? He says Lusaka. He says, we live together in Lusaka. So what is the issue?
Some campaigns had to be done in the night, as the case in Minilunga, Northwestern Province, in the year 2016.
When you vote for us 11 August, all the children of Minilunga, those who are from poor families, those who are orphans, I'll send you to school without pay.
The Patriotic Front later emerged victorious at presidential level, with candidate Edgar Lungu continuing on the role of head of state. The following year, 2017, President Hichilema would undergo his biggest test as an opposition leader under what many labeled a brutal regime of the Patriotic Front. HH's treason case starts from here. Like many Zambians, President Hakainde Hichilema was among the thousands that attended the 2017 Komboka ceremony. The ceremony marks the movement of the king from the palace in the flat plains to the palace on the higher land. President Hichilema was among those invited. Earlier at the ceremony in Lealui, HH had an altercation with the police as he could not be allowed to attend the first part of the ceremony. Police in Mongu mounted a strong resistance to ensure that HH and his team failed to attend King Lewanika's departure from Lealui to Limulunga. With time, he managed. And later in the day, in a road leading to Limulunga, this happened. HH and President ECL met in what appeared to be road rage, the beginning of trouble for HH. According to the government then, HH allegedly failed to give way to a presidential convoy. After the road rage fiasco, HH attended the traditional ceremony and moments later left for Lusaka, leading to his arrest. Few days later, heavily armed police officers raided the residence of Mr. Hichilema in New Kasama area in Lusaka. Police switched off power at his house, blocked the main roads and broke down the gates to gain access before firing tear gas. UPND parliamentarian Garing Kombo was caught in the beating range by state security.
Oh, it's brutal. Brutal, that's what we have. What you see right here is what you get. I wanted to go and see whether my boss is safe.
What is happening? Why are the police surrounding your president?
I don't know. All I know is that they beat the hell out of me. The police. They really, really beat me up. That's what it is.
Why?
And I don't know. I just need the hospital right now.
Considering that I'm a lawyer for HH, we are called that the police are at his house, and we prepared to come and represent him according to the Constitution of Zambia. But unfortunately, we are blocked by the police, we are tear gassed, and other people have been beaten. He has the right to be represented by a lawyer. He's innocent until proved guilty. He hasn't been proved guilty by a court of law. He's not a fugitive. What is happening in this country is very unfortunate.
This reporter too had to be detained as footage gathered on this day seemed to be criminal in nature. Gilbert Liswaniso, the UPND National Youth Chairperson, recalls the exact happenings during the night raid at Community House.
That's where I received a total brutality. An officer gets a gun and he puts you in your mouth. Okay? Either is a police officer, I don't know. Either is a cadre, I don't know. He puts a gun in your mouth. By the time you realize when I'm going to shoot, kuchaya mbama, and then slaps you, then down. And then they hold you in the two legs here and hands. And then they're scrolling like doing like this. 1, 2, then they throw you. And then they leave you and then throw on the ground. You know, at the airstream there's a cement there, the floor there. That's why they were torturing me. Vora Trouse. Where is Mr. Hakainde? Where is HH? At some parallel. Halikuta Hakainde. Where does he stay? For the sake of protection, I said, the man does not stay here, has gone to South Africa. No, sana aende. Halimo. Aenda kutipano. Aenda ku American Embassy. Azachiona. And these were Mao Enzo Choka words from the police officers. They were brutal after putting me tear gases. Now, I felt I cried on my mother's language. I cried that night because that was real torture. And you could hear now. That's why you have heard that when the first lady is saying, my workers, they were tortured, they were crying all over. It was me was crying too much because the pain was too much.
Mr. Hichilema's wife, Mutinta, also explained the heavy raid on HH's home, a traumatizing experience for the family and workers at the property.
They just wanted to kill my husband. They wanted to kill my husband. Where is your boss? Where is your boss? Beating him when the boy was crying. I could feel, I said, then HH said, my friend, let me go. I said, no, we're not coming out. It's you they want. It was 22 hours. Why do they have to come at night to pick you? And then they brought their tear gas, started smoking us out, smoking tear gas in the bunker where we were. And me, I'm asthmatic. I fainted twice. And our little boy, our young, the last boy, was also there. I don't know.
What followed was HH's arrest and a charge of treason, news that received global attention within and outside Africa. HH would spend few days at Lilai Police Training Center in a tiny cell inhabitable for a human being. HH was later taken to Kabwata Remand Prison, famously known as Chimbokaila, together with his co-accused. At Chimbokaila, another UPND senior member, Obvious Mwali Teta, was remanded as he was one of the 4 UPND officials who were arrested for intercepting records of election results a day before President Edgar Lungu was declared winner. He was charged with aggravated robbery. He received HH in prison and recalls the experience.
After a few days, I saw the president, HH, escorted to prison where I am. Then now I'm thinking, where is he going to go? Where is he going to be? Because we are full, okay? You know what they did? They took him to cell 13. Cell 13, there were 139. And they had an agenda. They knew that HH is coming to prison. They pumped that cell from 119 to 139. HH became 140, I think. And there was nowhere for him to stand. There was nowhere for him to sit. Imagine standing like this with him. Then we went to say, but look, colleagues, this man, how can you treat him like that? And he comes in without, they don't allow him with a mattress. They don't allow him with anything, so he has to sleep on the floor. It was a terrible experience I've ever experienced.
Due to the gravity of the case, attention was on Zambia as world leaders called for the release of HH from prison, among them Musima Imane, who attempted to fly into Zambia and was denied entry by the Zambian government.
The police of Zambia and unidentified people stormed the plane. There must have been about 20 or so people who came into the flight. They identified me and told me that I was denied entry into Zambia. I asked the question, on what basis? Then they insisted. I said I want to contact my legal team so I can get legal support. They refused, they detained my phone, they came back and they said they wanted any transmitting devices. So they took away my iPad. They said I could not come in. They started to assault me and push me down, while they wanted to make sure other passengers could then at that point leave the plane. It was then subsequent to that they simply said they are not obliged to give me any reason. They will not satisfy themselves until I'm put back on the plane. We had a disagreement for an hour on the runway. All I simply wanted was to arrive to stand side by side with a friend, a fellow comrade, somebody who stands for the rule of law in Zambia, HH, who has been detained.
And after more than 100 days in prison and court sessions, he was released and his journey to seek public office remained his priority. But that still was not easy.
I want to acknowledge the power of God for making this day possible, for making our release from detention following our brutal arrest and extended detention.
While HH was in detention, the Commonwealth confirmed that it was leading a peaceful dialogue process in Zambia following a post-election crisis. A statement from the group said its aim with the process was at establishing a roadmap of reforms in preparation for the 2021 elections, working towards a peaceful resolution and boosting public confidence in their commitment to a constructive, progressive, and responsible engagement. Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland made a trip to Zambia where she met with President Lungu and then detained opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema. The dialogue process seemed to have failed to achieve its desired mandate. In 2018, police summoned HH to appear before the Copperbelt Police Division in Dola. This was when some members of the Patriotic Front called on police to arrest Mr. Hichilema for allegedly inciting people on the Copperbelt to riot over the alleged sale of Zafico, a state-owned company involved in the timber industry. The summoning had its attention too.
We are going to follow with keen interest political leaders who issue unsubstantiated claims and cause anarchy in the country, that we are not going to take them kindly. So a warn and caution precedes an arrest. So he will be caught at an appropriate time. For now, he has been allowed to go and to ensure that he tames his tongue and ensure that the other community, the section of the community, are not disadvantaged by such utterances.
I think the issue is not about scare or not. The issue is about standing for the people of Zambia. First and foremost, it's our duty to stand for the people of Zambia. In that order, the people of this region, the people of Africa, the people of the world. In that order. That's how it works. So when you stand for the people, you don't front fear. If you are afraid, you should never seek public office to serve the people. Thank you.
Another highlight of President Hakainde Hichilema was the violence that occurred in Sesheke during a parliamentary by-election. HH had to run for his life as accusations of live bullets were made. The police seemed to have been divided as some officers were fired following the fracas. This is what transpired.
And I think directed the policemen to attack us. As we have no place, they said don't come into town. We did. You got the story. Baba Timu, we never know about
They could be sneaking snipers in these bushes. And they will go.
But I mean, let's get a vehicle back there. I'm not getting a broken road.
Yeah, actually, I'm calling Mwanza now.
That's calling Mwanza. I was saying.
Yeah. No, guys, suppose the two people go ahead and decide.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go to the vehicle. Take it. That's it.
HH's chance of fully participating in elections and subsequently winning was every day doubted, as known individuals would publicly ridicule his ambition, a situation that seemed to scare most of his followers.
You know, you ask yourself, now, what's so special? Well, we will one day have a Tonga president, but certainly not the current aspirant. Not the current aspirant, because it's not about tribe, it's about who you are.
And to come and be elected only then they're going to liberate. That it won't happen. There will be no such a thing happening in Zambia that will bring a president of the Tonga, significant Tonga, to become a president and save the entire Zambia. It won't happen. How can you have a Tonga president wait when you can't even save your own fellow people that are waiting, your tribesmen? You can't even save them. Who is saving you here? This is the PF.
The UPND in this period also suffered membership losses as top officials such as Geoffrey Walemwamba left the party and rejoined the Patriotic Front. Chishimba Kambwili, a rumored running mate to Mr. Hichilema, decided to call it quits with his association to the UPND and returned to the PF. Kambwili had spent his last few years being a fierce critic to the Patriotic Front leadership after falling out of favor. While other leaders left, other opposition political parties endorsed HH. Major campaigns from his opponents ruled him offside. Touching moments during campaigns in a build-up to the elections was HH's everyday song. Like in this case at Chipata Airport, the then opposition leader was denied entry and his pleading with officers went viral.
Just receiving us, happened in Fue, happened in Lundazi. The police were around to keep order. PF are there, UPND are there. And in fact, there was Steve Nirenda's party. You saw his truck moving around in Fue. Yes. There was no problem. You are creating a problem. You, not anybody. Let me go. You have detained me here for almost 2 hours now. It's not right. This is illegal. What you're doing here is illegal. Please allow us to go into town. If you want, get your vehicles, count us here, drive us into town, into some lodge. That's it. But that too is illegal. But if that's what you want to do, do it. I'm not leaving this place. I'm here. You can arrest me. Come in. Take me. I'm available. You've arrested me 15 times already. You can take me instead of a standoff like this. What's happening like this, Mr. Lungu? What's happening? So, what crime are you going to charge me now? Is it commissioner? He's commissioner.
Yes.
So what law? What crime are you going to charge me?
Sir, you are talking. You stopped me from talking. I explained to you.
Because you say that yes. I needed permission. We need to be straight with each other. I don't need your permission.
This desire to sell the country's minds back to those people by HH will not be tolerated. It simply means that when I come back after election on the 12th, and it is showing clearly there that you too are determined to sell this country.
Will I be wrong? Will the people be wrong to say, aha, this is what they want to achieve? Using a crime to fix others. I have heard someone saying, we will never allow HH to enter State House. Is this the scheme?
August 12, 2021 was a D-Day and the Zambians in millions voted.
They said Hichilema Hakainde S to be President-elect of the Republic of Zambia. This is 16th day of August 2021.
On August 16, 2021, Hichilema's 16-year wait to enter State House came to an end when he was declared winner of the August 12, 2021 elections. Hichilema and the UPND's victory brought the PF's 10-year rule to a crashing end, ushering in a new political dispensation. During the period the PF were in power, political hooliganism had reached an all-time high, with violent and uncouth cadres taking control of public life. They had become the law unto themselves and could even harass civil servants at will without being rebuked by government officials. In public places like markets and bus stations, PF cadres were fully in charge, harassing traders, bus and taxi drivers and other members of the public. Through these illegalities, some PF cadres had become instant millionaires. With the UPND sweeping to victory in the elections, some UPND cadres felt it was now their turn to begin behaving the PF way. They went on rampage, destroying the property that belonged to non-PF members while unleashing violence on their political opponents. While in opposition, one of the most cardinal promises Hichilema had made was that once elected into office, he would bring the much-hated Kadarism to an end. He was now the president-elect, and news had reached him that some of the UPND members had overnight become a reincarnation of the PF Brutality. Hichilema could not take that.
This is competition. This is not war. This is not extermination of others. This is a competition to serve. And we want to recognize the fact that others voted for other candidates. And we say to all of you who voted for other candidates, we extend our hand, a hand of friendship, our respect.
20 days later, on September 8, 2021, it was time to test President Hichilema's pledge to reunite the country that had become divided along ethnic lines. As part of the initial decisions, Zambia had a cabinet that was representative of all the 10 provinces in the country. On October 29, 2021, the Zambian people waited with bated breath as Mr. Hichilema's choice of Minister of Finance, Dr. Sitombeko Musokotwane, presented the UPND's inaugural national budget. Among the many issues Dr. Musokotwane told the Zambian people was that the new government had increased the allocation of the Constituency Development Fund CDF from a meager 1.6 million kwacha to a whopping 25.7 million kwacha. That too was unprecedented.
You may note that until now, CDF was pegged at 1.6 million kwacha per constituency. The anchor for the new Dawn administration is taking resources closer to the people. To this end, we have significantly increased CDF to 25.7.
The finance minister further announced that the decisions on the utilization of the CDF would not be determined by the central government, but by the people themselves at the constituency level. Come July 15, 2022, what seemed to be a pipe dream had turned into reality when the names of 30,496 recruited teachers were published in the Times of Zambia and Zambia Daily Mail newspapers. Many have described the recruitment as decentralized and non-political way of recruitment that even saw some PF councillors given jobs in the public service. What a new dawn the Zambian people had woken up to. What about the recruitment of health workers? Would that too become a reality? On July 29, 2022, 11,276 names of health workers were published in the Zambia Daily Mail, creating more jobs for the Zambian people. Over the last 1 year, the Zambian people have seen a renewed vigor to fight corruption by ensuring that any public officer suspected to have gone away with state resources is made to account. Another promise Mr. Hichilema made while in opposition was the dismantling of arrears for public service retirees who had gone unpaid for many years. Resources for retirees can only be sourced by ensuring cost-saving measures in many aspects. Part of these cost-saving measures Mr. Hichilema has implemented is a reduced size of the presidential entourage and the time spent away from Lusaka whenever he travels both within and outside the country. The debt restructuring talks Mr. Hichilema's government has been engaging in with creditors is aimed at ensuring that Zambia not only concentrate on dismantling its huge debt stock, but also save money for social services. Today, the Zambian currency, the kwacha, is trading at around 16 kwacha to United States dollar from nearly 24 kwacha when the UPND came to power in August 2021. In July 2022, the kwacha was even the second performing best currency in the world after the Russian ruble. The kwacha's performance, according to the Zambia Institute of Accountants president, Cecilia Zimba, was largely attributed to the positive optimism over Zambia's economy since Mr. Hichilema assumed office. The inflation rate has also seen a significant drop from the double digit of around 25% in August 2021 to a single digit of 9.9%. In his inauguration speech on August 24, 2021, Mr. Hichilema admitted that the road ahead would not be smooth, but that the journey would not be abandoned. Chiwala Nkwabilo, an economist, outlines Zambia's economic performance under the new Dawn administration.
We have seen inflation reducing to a single digit, which has been an issue of huge debate by the people of Zambia, that we are not seeing prices coming down, but we are told that inflation has hit a single digit. But the truth of the matter is that inflation is measured as the rate of change. So if the rate of change has reduced, prices can still increase, but if the rate of change has reduced, we can see a decline in the rate of inflation. The exchange rate for the kwacha has substantially reduced. We have seen some reports of the rate being actually below 16 kwacha from as high as 22, 23 kwacha that we had seen last year. This is something positive for us because it reduces the cost of importation. As you know, the Zambian economy is an import-driven economy, so that will substantially reduce the cost of importation.
The media environment has also added a positive development as operations in the industry became a center attack by non-members associating themselves to the Patriotic Front. Radio stations and other media were in most cases greeted with abrupt end in programming depending on who appeared on the platform. A Lusaka-based radio station 5FM received the ugly side of cadarism, and station manager Thomas Mkandawire recalls.
It's quite traumatizing, actually, trying to think of what used to happen. The one which was really traumatizing was when we were scheduled to feature one of the political leaders, and then the opposition leaders, and then the ruling party cadres called me to say, don't go ahead with the program because we're going to ban that station. So what we did, we informed the police. Unfortunately, the police didn't come. And then one of the guests, they were parked outside. We only saw a number of cadres across the road.
For you, the media, you will be truly free. You will operate independently without looking over a shoulder who is tear gassing you, who is shutting down your radio station, who is shutting down your television station because you said something that we do not like. There is nothing that we do not like.
President, salute! President!
This has been the journey of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the cattle header who rose to become Zambia's 7th president and announced to the world that Zambia is back in the Champions League.
Our economy is open for business. Zambia is back in business. As you would say it in football here, we are back in the Champions League.
Every Saturday, Prime TV brings you Health and You Talk Show. Learn more about self-health and wellness as the program dedicates to giving you accurate and genuinely helpful information.